Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to have a very serious talk with you guys. Actually, I'm serious. It's about luxury fashion. I kind of wanted to just take this opportunity to discuss my channel, discuss kind of the direction of my channel, my content, who I am, what I think, why are you guys here, and why you should tune in for more. So my name is Zara and I talk mostly about fashion and lifestyle. And the goal for my channel is basically to share with you all my kind of tips and tricks. Like, I consider myself the ultimate consumer. Like, I love fashion. I feel like I've tried it all. And I want to share with you guys how you can enjoy a fashion luxury lifestyle. But that's realistic. That's minimalistic. That's on a budget. And I feel like in the beginning, like, a lot of my videos were like hauls and unboxings and look what I got, and showing you guys all of these beautiful designer items that I do truly love and enjoy. But over time, my feelings about these items, my perception about things as I've grown as well, have changed tremendously. And I think it's only fair to like let you in on that insight that I currently have, because I think the insight that I have now is what the standard maybe US consumer who is shopping luxury items may be also thinking. Okay, so designer clothing and all of this stuff is super fun. It's super fun to like get something brand new and shiny, that's exclusive, that's like the latest design, the latest release. But personally, I have come to realize that a lot of this stuff is simply out of touch. And I say that in a sense of it's out of touch with like what's going on in the world, the time frame, like the cost of things are just astronomical and completely absurd. And again, that's changed my perspective of luxury shopping and luxury items and how much I'm willing to really spend. So, like I said previously on my channel, I did tons of unboxings, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, shopping, like hauls and all of that stuff that really promoted this consumerism lifestyle. Now, I have to say I am a millennial, and I want to talk a little bit about being a millennial, especially a millennial woman, and how I feel like as children, as we were younger, our generation, especially the women of our generation, millennials, were definitely indoctrinated from a young age to consume, collect, to buy, to have the best. And I didn't realize that until I started to adapt a new mindset and kind of like wondered, where did all of these deep-rooted beliefs that I originally had come from as it relates to the way I shopped or how I was a consumer. So basically, time out here, because now I'm going to be talking about something a little different. I want you to understand that I am qualified to speak on the topics I'm about to speak on. So I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and I have a master's degree in clinical social work. So I studied human behavior. I'm an expert. I'm considered an expert on human behavior, and I understand kind of looking at these things from a different lens as it relates to our psyche and decisions and our behavior. Everything I'm mentioning in this video is truly my opinion, but what I'm about to discuss now is not just my opinion, but it's also my expert opinion as it relates to human behavior. Just FYI. So I started to reflect on like my own upbringing, childhood experiences, and like, where did all these consumerism beliefs come from? Like, where did this all start? And I think about back in the day, do you guys remember Beanie Babies and the Beanie Babies craze, and how it was like, collect all of these things and collect. And then I started to notice a trend. A lot of things that were popular when I was a child, watching ads on TV and then asking my parents for something, all of those ads promoted collect all 9 of them, have all 10 of them, they come in 10 different colorways. And that's kind of was training me for the consumer I then eventually grew up to be, right? Bear with me, guys. So I want to tell you guys a little story. When I was I was still, I think like 5th grade, around 5th grade. I was still pretty young. There was this book, like a workbook, that had these stamps, and it was like if you wanted you had to get the book, you had to collect all the stamps. And in order to collect the stamps, you had to go to stores that sell the stamps, and they sold the stamps in like a little packet of maybe like 5 stamps. But it was like a sealed foil packet. You couldn't see the stamps you were buying. So you had to just buy the stamps, open them up, and see if they were stamps you needed to complete your book, right? And it was a huge book. So what would happen often, you would buy stamps and they would be repeats of stamps you already had. So then I had to take the stamps to school and try to trade them with someone else who had the stamp I needed, and then I would give them the stamp they needed. But then I remember like literally anytime my dad was like running to do an errand, I'd be like, I want to come with you. So in my head, so I can buy some more stamps. And that was just the thing. Like, I'm going to the candy store and I'm going to buy some more stamps, trying to complete this book. Guys, just FYI, I did complete the book. I did complete the task, complete the challenge. I was a winner. But looking back on that, first of all, I don't even remember what the book was about. I don't have that book. The book does not matter. What mattered was the exercise that book made me participate in, which was go around, buy all these excess stamps just to get the stamps you need to complete your book, so you can feel like you won, you did it, you completed it, you finished the task. And that's a lot of the indoctrinations that us as millennials have gotten growing up, if we're really honest. Like, be a good girl, win the race, work hard. And it's so interesting because, like I said, my observations, I'm a parent to a Gen Z. I have a son, he's Gen Z. He is almost 18 actually. And it's so interesting how he does not have any of these, I mean, also he's a boy, but he does not have any of these similar ideas regarding consumerism that I had. He's not concerned about these things. Like, who cares if the book isn't completed? Gen Z just has a totally different perspective when it comes to these things. They don't do this whole collecting bit. They don't get hung up on these little perfect example, those Stanley Cups. I have one. I actually have 2. But around Christmas, my son, this is the difference between our generations. Just hear me out. Another quick story. My son was like, you know what, Mom, you really need to drink more water. He's an athlete as well. And he was like, you need to drink more water. He was like, you definitely wouldn't pass an hydration test because you don't drink enough water. I'm going to buy you one of those Stanley Cups and I bet you'll drink more water. And he understood my mom falls for gimmicks. She's a gimmicky person. Packaging and all of this stuff is what works for her. So these Stanley Cups are popular. I bet if I get my mom a Stanley Cup, she'll be motivated to drink more water. And guess what happened? He bought me the Stanley Cup. This is before I really had this huge realization though. He bought me the Stanley Cup. He bought me a black one. He was like, it's going to match all your outfits. And it does. And I tote that thing around to work, to the office, wherever I'm going. And guess what? I'm drinking a lot more water these days because I constantly have my Stanley Cup full with water and ice that I'm drinking all day. And it worked. Even my son, Gen Z, recognized my mom's a millennial brain, and this is how her millennial brain works, and it falls for gimmicks. And the Stanley Cup is a gimmick, and I bet if I get her a Stanley Cup, she'll drink more water. Ta-da! So this is what I mean about the indoctrination of like how I was programmed to be a certain type of consumer from these experiences, right? Because experiences that happen to us while we're children definitely have a huge impact on us as adults, the decisions we make as adults, but more importantly, our behavior patterns as adults. So all of those ads we were just sitting around harmlessly watching have contributed a lot to decisions and behaviors, to our decisions and behaviors today. That, again, expert opinion, guys. So I started to realize, like, I need to think more like Gen Z with shopping. Like, my loyalty should be to myself and my own bank account before it is to any brand or any designer or any hot item that's coming out, which is completely reverse of what I used to think. I used to talk about brands before. If you go back and watch any of my older videos, I had this admiration for these brands too, like, oh, the heritage and the brand this and the brand that and brand loyalty, and I'm just a fan. And, you know, I had some positive experiences with these brands. I shared a lot of positive experiences I had. But the truth is, these brands don't care about me. And so as their prices, if you saw the trends on my channel the last couple of years, I started talking more about pre-loved and vintage bags, especially. I still bought some designer clothing items here and there, but bags mostly in the last few years have been a lot of Fashionphile unboxings and a lot of vintage stuff that I picked up. I have rarely purchased like a brand new bag in boutique. In fact, the last designer brand new bag I bought, that Bottega Veneta bag, which I am going to do another video on that, I ended up selling like pretty soon after purchasing it brand new. So that's another video, but I just started to feel like the prices were so outrageous that, for example, look at Chanel's most recent price increases. Like, the price of a Chanel medium flap is $10,800 US. I remember when those bags were still outrageous, but they were about $3,000. I remember that. It wasn't that long ago. So it's like, this brand obviously doesn't care about me, because their prices are outrageous and it's ridiculous, and they just don't, they're not considering me as a consumer. So no, I'm not saying the brand actually cares about me personally, but they're not considering me as a consumer or anyone else who is, you know, doing okay. But who is spending $10,800 on a bag that used to cost $3,000? So there's no justification for those prices. Like, we all know that it's well overpriced. Like, they were making a tremendous profit even when it was $3,000. But at $10,000, it almost feels like they're just scamming us. They're just seeing how much will people pay. And I'm just kind of not willing to buy into the scam or the scheme anymore. Like, I feel like it's ridiculous. The prices are ridiculous. And that's just my opinion. I shared also previously that I was watching shorts, and there was like people interviewing people on the street, and they asked an older woman, she was older, but they asked her, how much did your first home cost? And she like smirks and laughs and says $12,000. And that kind of like made me feel, as a millennial, so incredibly cringe, because that's what a Chanel bag costs for us. Forget a home, the price of a home or price of a new car, which are essentials. But a Chanel bag costs as much as this woman's first home. And she's alive and well. So she's like within my lifetime. It's not like she's from some other time, right? She's alive and well today, still living her life out shopping. And her first home cost her what these designer bags are costing these days. And it's like, I feel like I got to the point where it's like, enough is enough. Like, I'm willing to enjoy the things I have. Like I said, I love shopping vintage. I still like some of these designs. I'm not going to now change my entire perspective as if I don't enjoy these items. I still do. But me personally, as for me and my household, we will not be buying these prices, like spending on these prices. No, no, no. For me and my household, we will not be entertaining these prices at all. And I think that's where this conversation, especially amongst the luxury fashion YouTube community, has started, which is luxury dead? And I feel like it's been a gradual process over the last few years. I think some of these brands have totally pushed to the limits, totally maxed themselves out with what the average consumer is willing to spend. One YouTuber that I really do really respect his opinions, and he has really great insight on this topic, is Super Jacob. I will link his channel below. If you haven't heard about him, I highly recommend you checking out his channel. Some really incredible reviews, super knowledgeable about so many things. Like, he's just really, really wonderful to watch. So I highly recommend you check him out. He's been talking about this topic for years as well. And one thing that he says that had really stood out to me was the average consumer of these brands aren't the super rich. So they're making these items priced for the super rich, but that's not where they earn their bread and butter. That's not their biggest target consumer. Why? Because it's us, the average consumer, buying our little bits and bobs here and there, our accessories and our bag and my birthday unboxing. That's where, and it's us by the masses, whether we may not be spending the same as the super rich may spend in one trip, but it's a huge amount of us going for that one bag every so often, or that one accessory so often. And I really thought about that, like, wow, what if they completely priced and maxed us all out where we really couldn't afford these items? You know, I just gotten to the point where I'm not willing to spend that much. When that woman said she bought that house, her first house, for $12,000, it just puts so much in perspective for me. And trust me, guys, I know I can't buy a house in 2024 for $12,000, but it was a reality check to me of how absurd the prices are when within my lifetime someone bought a house for that same price. And a house and a luxury handbag are not the same. Like I said, a necessity and an accessory. Oh, that rhymes. And so I just started to feel cringe. And even looking back at some of my other videos and the enthusiasm I had, it's a little cringe now. And I'm saying to me now, I'm not saying it was cringe then. I think it was like a beautiful time when I was like first unboxing, when I started my YouTube channel. It was a little more carefree. Also, the prices back then weren't what they are today. But today in 2024, I think certain unboxings are just a little cringe. Like, also, why? Because part of the whole unboxing culture was to share, like, this is what comes in it as a reference. So if you went to the store, you'd know what to expect. We have seen all the unboxings for the classic flaps. We've seen all the Birkins and Kelly unboxings. We don't need any more references. So when someone's unboxing something now, other than just to say, hey, I got this, I'm so excited, let me tell you a story time, or they have some, you know, information to add, but someone just showing, like, I got this, yeah, it's giving cringe, in my opinion. Maybe I'm taking a Gen Z stance on this, a little from my son's perspective, but I think that's a really good place for me to be, and I'm really happy that I've evolved to this point as a consumer. So basically, the major burning question, is luxury fashion dead? Yes, it died. I would say 2021, 2022 was the end of luxury fashion. I think at this point now, people are starting to wake up and become more conscious consumers, which is what I want to promote here on my channel. Your loyalty should be just to yourself. Do what makes you happy. If going out and spending the price of a house to someone on a purse is what makes you happy, then by all means, I support you and I'm happy for you. I just think for me, it was like enough. So I'm still going to talk about luxury fashion though, and lifestyle items. I'm still going to shop and discuss fashion items. Like, that's not what's changing, but my perspective on how I maybe pursue what I choose to buy, what I choose to share, how I choose to share things it's going to be from a different perspective. And I hope you guys will bear with me. My goal, again, is to share how to have this kind of luxury fashion lifestyle in a very realistic way, and to also create more conscious consumers, because that is what I am also doing for myself. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And again, this is my take on whether luxury is dead. Is luxury dead? I think so. I think that time has definitely passed. I think the world and we're all in such different places. So yeah, I think it's time to like let that stuff kind of go for now. Put a pause on it. And honestly, if anything changes, these brands have been around forever already. They'll still be around later on if we ever decide to go back. But yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. I wanted to thank you again for kind of hearing me out. I hope you found anything I discussed in this video helpful to you. But if you did like this video, give me a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe if you aren't subscribed. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed and joined my online community. Also, don't forget to hit that bell so you can turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload from me. As always, if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments section below. Until next time, guys.